right, we're not saying grace. We're just going to cut to the meat and potatoes of this video. The Pokemon Center website is the worst website I have ever had the pleasure or the displeasure of using. Actually, the way they handle everything on that website is absolutely terrible. So I'm going to catch you up on everything that's going on. So if you don't know what's going on, you can kind of, you could be on the same track as everyone else here. So yesterday, the Pokemon Center website made available the pre-order of the new Pokemon trading card game product. And that product is Destined Rivals. It's in Japan, they've had two separate sets, but here in the Western world, we're going to get both of those sets combined. And one of those sets is like the Team Rocket set. So anything Gen 1, anything Pikachu, anything Eevee, all of those things, it's common knowledge that it's going to be a very hard set to get because a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on it. So the Pokemon Center website, already we all know through previous launches that it has a lot of issues. It has a lot of issues with server lag and, you know, the sheer amount of people trying to get into it. So you would think that after a few bad launches on the Pokemon Center website, that Pokemon would say, hey, we should probably fix this. But no, they've implemented something new into the website, which is like a lining system. So it's basically like you allow a certain amount of people in the line, and then people who aren't in the... I'm explaining this so fucking badly. Wait, let me get a second to rephrase that. So everyone who goes onto the website would be put into a line. You would allow a few people into the website, and then the other people would stay in a line. There are so many issues with that, with doing it that way. One, you have a lot of scalpers who probably have like insider knowledge other than like the normal people who play the TCG game, and they will more than likely be the first ones in there. Secondly, I don't know why they do this, but the Pokemon Center website never say when they're dropping anything. They will just drop it like pants down, bare ass, like no one even knows that it's happening. They'll just fully flash you with it. They'll be like, hey, it's here. There you go. Do something about it. They won't even post about it. Not only will they not tell you when it's coming out, they won't even tell you when it is out. People just have to like find source codes and stuff like that to even have a chance of getting it. So at that point, you have scalpers who probably have the edge doing stuff there. The next worst thing that they have there is when you're lining for it, it doesn't tell you how long you're going to wait. It doesn't tell you how many people are in front of you. You just have to sit there and hope that at some point you're going to get in. Now, people have found a way to find where you are in the line. So if you go on the Pokemon Center website and you're in the waiting list, if you right click on your mouse button and you go on to inspect, then you go on to network and you press on it, one of the tabs there on the left that keeps refreshing, there's a new tab that gets opened towards the left hand side. You can actually see what position you are in the line. So that is the only way. You have to find the coding of the actual website to find what position you're in, which is absolutely bonkers to me. I don't know why they did it that way, but they have done it that way. But we've not even gotten to the worst part. The worst part of yesterday was you get through the queue and there is still some product left. Now, I shit you not, the only way of finding the product, of finding any Destined Rivals products, was posting a URL code. If you go through the product website of anything and you go to new releases, you even type the name of the actual set, that set will not come up on the website. You have to manually put in the URL of that specific product for it to even have a chance of popping up. And to double down on that, the only URL that actually worked was the ETB. We were also meant to have booster boxes, which were the big boxes that you get like 36 packs of, which is what the one I really wanted. Wasn't there. Booster bundles were also meant to be there. Wasn't there. Blister packs were also meant to be there. Wasn't there. So the only functional URL code that was working was the Elite Trainer boxes. So not only is your queuing line absolutely awful, your products aren't even on the actual page unless you put a URL in, but 3 of your URLs don't even work. It's bonkers. It's so crazy to me. And you think we're done there? No. The problems keep getting deeper. And I've got like at least 3 or 4 more things to point out here with how absolutely trash this website is. So you've managed to get your URL for your ETB. You managed to pop it in the basket. Now all you have to do, the finishing line is right in sight. All you have to do is check out, put your card details, give Pokemon your money, and that's it. Well, now you can run into 2 issues. First issue is you could just get kicked out of the website. The moment you get kicked out of the website, you have to go back into the website, and guess what? You're queuing again, buddy. And at this point, and this is the most I've seen so far, the biggest I've seen someone post about the queue, and this is just England, there's also a US website, so this is split between US and UK, but here in the UK, there was, I shit you not, at one point, there was a concurrent 2.7 million people on the website all at the same time. In fact, no, I lie. There were 2.7 million people in the queue alone, never mind the people in the actual Pokemon Center website trying to buy the product. So I would assume there was somewhere around 3 to 4 million people on the website all at one time. It is absolutely bonkers. So you'd be kicked out and you have to sit on that line for another like 2, 3, God forbid, even 4 hours. But let's say you don't get kicked out. You're still in the checkout. You've gone and you've got the card details there ready to put in. Well, now you run into your other issue. You can't put your card details in. You try and click like to put your card number in, doesn't work. You try to put the date on your card, doesn't work either. You can't do anything at that point. I was the one with that issue. I never actually got kicked out. So what I kept doing was I kept loading in the URL. I kept loading in the Pokemon Center and kept like going through tabs and trying to refresh it. And hopefully at some point it would work. And it did. But then you get into your other issue, which is you put your card details in, and then the Pokemon Center website says you have some issues with your cookies or something and to try again. Now, this is where, again, you can have two issues. Once you get that thing, you can either get kicked out of the website or you might just maybe have a chance of going back into the website, but it would take the Pokemon ETB out of your cart. And at that point, you just hope to God that someone hasn't snatched the last ETB. I was lucky. I managed to refresh it. I put the ETB back in my cart and I checked out. I was fine. I could put that ETB in, but a lot of people suffered a lot of the same issues of it. You just keep getting kicked out of the website. You can't put your card details in. The whole bunch of shenanigans happening there. That website was actually glued together with tape. In fact, the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Shining Diamond, or whatever those remakes were, the Diamond and Pearl remakes, that game's code is miles better than that Pokemon Center website. And that code was trashed upon by a lot of coders out there saying that this game is actually held by glue and sellotape. That website, I don't know what it's held. It must be held by like those little wooden lollipop things that you get from the supermarket, because that website is absolute trash. Like, it is horrible how that website is even functioning normally, never mind with that many people going in. So before I continue with even more of the issues that website has, let's go back to one of the issues that I was talking about. So the one other product that I really wanted to get was the booster box. So typically when the new set releases, there are two things I personally want to get. I want to get an ETB because the ETBs have like special illustration stuff that are in there, and you can typically only get with the ETBs. And the other thing I like to get is the booster boxes because I'm a pack opening whore and I just like to open a stupid amount of packs. That's what I personally like to do. But like I said, the URL for the booster box wasn't working, which I thought was really weird. But at that point, I realized that the site was practically crashing. It was having a stroke by itself. So I was like, okay, I just keep giving it time. I do feel bad because I was one of the people who was just sat in the Pokemon Center website. So I was probably taking the space of someone who could have bought an ETB, which I felt bad. But in my defense, I was still looking for a product to buy. So why would I give up my line, if that makes sense? But the reason I felt bad was the booster box, at least from what I've seen, was never published. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about this, how the URL for the booster box wasn't working and no one found like an actual other URL that was working. So the thing that everyone's thinking now is the booster boxes, booster bundles, and blisters were just never published. The only thing that was published was the ETB. And there's a few issues with that. For one, you're then focusing everyone's attention on the ETB, which means the people who maybe didn't want to get the ETB and just wanted to get the booster box are now like, oh, there's no booster box, so I'll just get the ETB. Where there's maybe someone else who's like, well, I only want the ETB. It kind of sucks because then the people who actually want the product don't get the product. And the people who wanted something else are like, well, I might as well just get this to either sell it or because that's the only way of them getting packs, which I think is absolutely bonkers. But the bit that doesn't make sense is even though there's no screenshots of people selling booster boxes, no screenshots of people like having the booster box in their basket, no screenshots of anything. And I'm just mean here in the UK, if you're from the US, yours was working fine. But here in the UK, it doesn't seem like anyone ordered a booster box. However, if you go onto the Pokemon Center website, it says that the booster boxes are unavailable. They're sold out. How can you sell out of a product that never got launched? Now, my only game theory on this is that there was a separate URL code that wasn't the one that everyone else was using, and the scalpers all got it. That's one of my game theories. My other game theory is that they just never posted it out, and it just seems like they just put sold out there because we're like, oh, okay, well, we can't just put out now. We just have to put it sold out. And then they've already said they're going to restock. So they'll probably just put the normal stock in with the restock and just put it all out all together. But the fact that you couldn't coordinate that properly is just beyond me. Like the coordination, the actual building of that website is so dumb. So it gets to 12 o'clock at night. The people who got their ETBs got the ETBs. Some people didn't get their ETBs. Everything's done. The storm is gone. Everything's calmed down. You would think that that's the end of anything bad happening. Nope. It keeps getting worse for some people because some people who actually managed to get through with the ETB actually got an email saying that their order has been cancelled. I shit you not. I'm going to take a screenshot here of one of my friends who posted it on the Discord, and this is her order that says cancelled. That is wild. You have been lucky enough to be one of the people who actually managed to put it in your cart and get out of the checkout just for Pokemon to then snatch it right out of your hands and be like, actually, no, someone else got it. And you know for a fact that one of those people who has your ETB in their hand is more than likely a scalper. It is... Oh god, this website hurts to just talk about. It's crazy. And the worst part is, like I said, the only leeway I can give them is there is a lot of people on the website all at the same time, and you know, with server issues and that many people just hoarding into one single server, it's going to be hard for a lot of websites. But it's not impossible. There's a lot of websites that still work well, like Ticketmaster and stuff like that, when you've got concerts and stuff selling. I don't know if they get to the 3-4 million range. But when you're a company like Pokemon, and I'm going to tell you right now, you practically have an infinite money glitch with the TCG, with the games, with just the products themselves. Like that company, I knew Pokemon made a lot of money, but yesterday I realized just how much money, one, they make, and two, they could make if they just made even more product. It is fucking wild. But they have so much money, yet we see stuff like the Pokemon Center website being held together with glue. We see games like Pokemon Scarlet, which seem like they've been made with hardly any love in. We see games like Legend ZA that, listen, if you're looking forward to ZA, that's fine. If you really like Scarlet, that's fine. But I would say for a lot of fans, they either look or were lackluster. But you are one of the biggest profiting, grossing companies in the world, and you can't fix these things that, one, would make you look better, two, would sell you more product, and three, would make you infinitely more money. Just print more cards, print more products so more people can get it. You get more money in your pockets and people are happy because they get the product that they want. But only do we have a product shortage, we have a website that's fucking awful, and we have games that... I don't want to talk about games. I already made a video on the games before, so I feel like I'm just shitting on the games again, and I'm making it seem like I hate the games more than I do. I don't. I love the Pokemon games. But it just feels like recently, Pokemon just don't give a fuck. They really don't. And one of the ways I would maybe fix this website thing, I don't want to just sit here and shit on the website. I want to actually give some ideas. Are these good ideas or not? I don't know. But one of the ideas that one of my friends posed, which was like an idea I had, but they kind of made it a bit more coherent and in a way that actually sounds good, is, and this isn't perfect, by the way. I'm not saying that this is the solution. This is just an idea. So the way I would do it is, I think Pokemon should personally say, hey, we are launching the product at this time and this day. It would probably be a lot harder on the servers because then people can like take time off work or like be ready on the Pokemon Center website instead of spreading it out when it's random. But at least then everyone has an equal chance of being there. Obviously, make your servers a lot better or split your servers between 2 or 3. So if someone is in a line, you then get split into another server. So being like, I don't know if they already do that, but that's one of the ways I would do it. But the most important part is when you go into the website should ask you one thing straight away. Give us your player ID. That they'll do that for the first like 4 or 5 hours. And the first people to get their hands on the product are people who actually play the game. And then that would be the whole point of getting the cards is so that you can play with them. And I do understand that there's a big portion of the Pokemon community who just like to collect. They don't like the card game, but they like to collect the cards. That's great. And I do see that part of the collecting hobby. The issue with it is that part of the collecting hobby is filled with scalpers because at that point you are collecting products. Whereas you're collecting cards, they're collecting products so that they can sell. But the other part is, and this seems selfish because I am a player, I'm not that much of a collector. I do collect, but I'm not that much of a collector. The trading cards are to play the game. That is the bottom end of it. And even if you don't play the game, or even if you don't collect, I mean, I know someone like Azul GG, I don't think he collects, or it doesn't seem like he's that bothered about the card. Just sell them online. And they're not going to sell it for like a stupid amount of profit. They'll just sell it for like the going rates. Plus singles anyway go for a lot less than like a sealed box do. So I think that is one of the ways that they can mitigate it. People who play the game get their hands on it. People who don't play the games or just collect then would go in. Hopefully the servers are a lot less busy because you've had the first wave of players going in. Now you've got the wave of collectors going in. Everything's spread out. And for the most part, people who really like the game or people who actually invest their time and effort into the game get the first chance of getting it. Plus people who say, oh, well, I'm a collector and it's unfair that the player gets the first chance on it. I don't think it's that unfair. Even though you do buy the product, the players also won by product, but we also put money into going into cups, challenges, regionals. Like we put a lot more money into Pokemon than collectors do. So I don't think it's unfair to say that we should be the first ones to actually get our hands on product. Because for example, the Discord that I'm in with a lot of my friends, a lot of them play the game. A lot of them go to cups like every 2-3 months whenever there's available. They even travel to go for cups, like to towns or cities nearby. Like they spend a lot of time and effort into the game, and some of them didn't get product. And I know for a fact there's people out there who maybe just lightly collect. They're scalpers, or they bought it for the kid who's probably just going to get snot all over it. They probably got their hands on an ATB, but the players who invest a lot of time, effort into the game didn't. So at that point, I feel like it's very unfair for them. But yeah, that's everything I want to talk about for this. This website is awful. This website is absolutely atrocious, but I'm going to stop talking about it before I actually have a conniption about it. I do want to talk about one more story because I've not only that I found this kind of funny, but also really sad. So the moment Destined Rivals came out, obviously the moment any Pokemon product comes out, the first thing people are going to do is not only just sell the product on eBay, they're going to sell the confirmation email. So they're like, hey, I've got a confirmed product here. You guys can buy that product. So as soon as I get it, I can send it out to you and you have the product. So you're essentially buying the pre-order of the product for yourself. But some degenerate guy on eBay decided to, and listen, I see people's arguments of like, it's very blatantly not the product. And he very blatantly made it, or he kind of made it aware that it's not the product. But I'll talk about it in a second, actually. So he went on eBay, posted a picture of the product and put a description and the title. However, what he was selling wasn't the actual product. What he was selling was, I shit you not, he was selling a picture of the product, an A4 sheet of a picture of the product for £100. That is wild. And whilst in the description and in the title, he does blatantly say this is an A4 sheet of paper, he even says something along the lines of, I'm not to blame for your stupidity, or something along those lines. Like basically saying, hey, it's not my fault you fell for this. Like you fell for this scam, buddy, not me. Like you enjoyed that sheet of paper. Like he has made it fairly obvious that it's not the product. But at that moment when you're like maybe trying to get into Pokemon Center's website and you realize, hey, like maybe I haven't got like the product, or I know it's going to sell out, you're going to go on eBay. And when you see a listing of like, there's a lot of listings for these. So like these ETBs are meant to go for like $50 or £50 or something like that. But people are selling them for $300-400. So when you see a listing for 100 and the first like few sentences are like Pokemon, Destined Rivals, ETB, whatever, I would say it's not hard for you to be like, okay, wow, this is the ETB. It's a lot lower than a lot of the other prices. It's only double the price. I don't mind paying for this. And then you pay for it really quickly and then you realize, oh, well, actually, I'm not going to get the product today for a sheet of paper. So it is scummy. I do see people who say like, well, it's your fault for falling for it. But on the other end, when you're desperate and you see a price that's not too bad comparatively to everything else, you're probably going to get caught up in the moment. And it still is a really fucking scummy thing to do. Like, I just don't recommend anyone do it at all. It's just an awful thing to do. So yeah, talking about Pokemon again, it's not fun to shit on it like this because I've fallen in love with the trading card game a lot. Like, I'm borderline addicted to it. I watch videos and theories and sequencing and everything about it. I go to like most cups I can go to. I've been to like 3 or 4 already this month and I want to go to more. I go to every challenge. Like, I love the game. So it is hard talking shit about the actual company, but when you have a shit show like you had at the Pokemon Center website yesterday, oh god, it's horrendous. That queuing website or that queuing system needs to go. Like, it needs to go, and that website needs to be redone from the ground up with completely new coders because it can't keep going like this. It can't. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about. Boy.